Yo, recently I entered the 149th mini jam. It is a 72-hour long game jam that occurs every 2 weeks on itch. The game I made for this jam is playing in the background right now. In this video, I'm going to talk about how I made the game and what I've learned from it. On the day of the jam, I found out that the theme was ancient and the limitation was written in an alien language. My idea was a puzzle platformer where you had to solve some puzzles to escape into some ancient ruins. The idea was very simple, but I didn't want to leave the game unfinished. I started off by working on some art. I did this first as I wanted the player and tile set in the game as soon as possible. I found this nice blue palette on low spec and thought the colours would fit the theme very nicely. I made this kind of mossy tile which consisted of 2 layers. I'd never done this before, but I think it turned out quite nice. This extra layer also helped me to reduce the number of tiles that were being checked for collisions, as I didn't have to check the tiles in the inner layer. This made the game slightly more optimised. I then imported my main character from a previous game into Pygame, changed up the sprite a bit and matched the colours to my chosen palette. I plugged all of these assets into my framework and got the player moving. My framework is basically some previously made code that handles sprite sheets, levels and shaders. It also had some other useful functions for fonts and entities. It sped up game development and meant I didn't have to waste too much time on writing boilerplate code. Next, I drew up some torches the player could activate for the first puzzle. I added an outline to each torch to indicate when the player got close enough to turn it on or off. I wanted the player to use the symbols on the wall and underneath the torches to figure out the puzzle. I later added sounds and shaders to guide the player as I didn't want them getting stuck. However, it kinda ended up making the puzzle too easy. I went back into Pygame and made the column and button art for the second and final puzzle. I was hoping to add a third puzzle but I ran out of time. The second puzzle required the user to use a number above the columns to change the symbols displayed on the columns. Next, I added movable crates. The art I made for them kinda looked out of place, but I just stuck with it. I'd never implemented anything like this before, so it took a while. But I'm happy with how it turned out. Just don't put the crates next to each other, they'll start to bug out. Anyway, after adding and testing all the main features I wanted in the game, I started making the main level. It included 2 puzzles with the symbols and 2 platforming sections with the crates. I knew the game would be quite short, but it was all I could manage. The game at this point was looking quite bad, so I added some decoration items to spice it up. This was something my previous game jam game lacked, so it was nice to finally add some decoration to my game. This immediately made my game look like it didn't come out the rear end of a horse. It also meant that the aesthetic better fit the theme of ancient. Before I started coding, I knew I wanted to use shaders to improve the game's look, so I set up the project with that in mind. The first thing I implemented with the shaders was a light around the player. I did this by passing the coordinates of the player into the shader and applying a smooth step to get a gradient from the player to the edge of the screen. I also darkened the background to make the shader more obvious and aesthetically pleasing. The torches kinda looked plain, so I added some lightened particles. The particles took a while, and I usually used it for the torches, but I don't regret adding them. I probably should have used more particles for like the player walking, jumping, and moving crates. I used a mixture of GFS-XR and GarageBand for the sounds. I used GarageBand to make the notes in the pentatonic scale for the first puzzle. This in combination with the shader to turn the screen green or red helped to guide the player. GFS-XR was used to make the sound for completing a puzzle. I like using it because I just have to press buttons until I hear something I like. I once again used beatbox to make the music because it was quick and simple. In my opinion, the music turned out way better than the track I made for my previous game jam, so I was happy with that. After adding the song into the game, I submitted the project with 2.5 hours left. Many people, including myself, would say that I didn't do great, as I came 129th out of 162 entries. But to be honest, I wasn't too surprised or bothered. I was just happy I released something. If you for some reason want to play this game, you can check it out on my Itch profile. If you like this video, you can watch me make a game for my first game jam. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace.